Let me ask you a question. Have you ever taken the time to really think about the great significance of a mother? I want you to ponder that. I'll be back in just a minute.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
You don't know how to be an individual.
And we want to get back to our discussion on race relations in the United States. Pastor R.C. Blakes Jr. joining us.
And as leaders on a local level, when we begin to combat the rhetoric with truth.
Pastor, thank you so much for joining me. It's such a horrific conversation that we even have to be having. What are you hearing from?
Let's talk with R.C. Blakes Jr. Let's talk.
As I am recording this message, it is Mother's Day 2018. And right now I'm actually sitting in my mother's kitchen and I'm getting ready to bring her to lunch for Mother's Day. But the beauty is that I recognize my mother's value and her worth in my life beyond any particular day. And I think that's just what I want to kind of address today, because unfortunately we're living in a time when the value and the contribution of mothers is really not recognized, and it's certainly not celebrated to the extent that it should be celebrated. It's not celebrated by children, and it's even more so not celebrated by husbands or the fathers of those children. We don't always take the time to really stop and to appreciate the tremendous sacrifice and the great value that mothers are to us. And there's some things that are in the Word of God that I want to just kind of highlight that I think point to the real blessing of having a mother. In Proverbs 31:27 and 28, it says, "She looks well to the ways of her household and eats not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her." Now, the implication of this text is that when it says she does not eat the bread of idleness, the implication is that a good mother her job is never done. It's a 24/7 commitment. She really has no downtime. She is on the clock 24/7. And you know, when you step outside of your own personal world, and if you can, with some empathetic lens, look into the life of our wives, the mothers of our kids, our mothers themselves, you'll see that these women are always working, from cooking to cleaning to picking children up to doing homework to washing clothes to paying bills to bringing this one to dance and that one to football, and just it never ends. So the implication is that a mother's job is never done. Secondly, it says her children call her blessed and her husband praises her. And this speaks to what? This speaks to the fact that a wise family acknowledges the contribution of the mother, the contribution of the wife. A wise family acknowledges her contribution, not just one day a year, but mothers are to be honored and esteemed continuously, because you don't realize what she means to you until she's no longer present. Now, there are 5 things that I've outlined, and I call these the 5 spiritual blessings of a mother. This is a lesson that I delivered in the church. Really not even a lesson, just a thought, some thoughts actually. 5 spiritual blessings of a mother. Number 1, mothers are the conduits of life. There is no you without her. There would be no us without them, because women mothers are the conduits through which God sends life into the earth. In Genesis 3:20, it says, and Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. She was ordained to bring life to bear. Now, when you think about your mother being the conduit of life for you, that you pass through to get into the world, that's enough, by itself. Standing alone, that is enough for you and I to honor and to esteem our mothers highly. Many people find reasons to be angry with their mothers. Maybe mom has some habits, or maybe mom has some ways that are not necessarily pleasing. I was talking with a young man just recently, and he was making every excuse in the world about why he doesn't come to see his mother. She lies, and she does this and she does that. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't speak to your mother's character because I don't know her like that. But one thing I do know is that the things that trouble you about her now are not going to matter when she dies, And at some point you have to just respect the fact that she gave life to you. Now, she may not be the ideal person. In fact, no person is ideal. Nobody's perfect. You may not like your mom a lot, but you have to at least be wise enough to say, God used this lady to give me life, and above that, she chose to give me life, because we're living in a day and time when women can choose to abort. It's a very real possibility. And your mother, our mothers, chose to give us life. And if for nothing more than that, that's enough alone for us to at least honor her. Because when you think about a woman giving birth, that is, I have 4 kids. I saw one of them actually born, and I watched it. And when I saw it, it transformed my respect for mothers, because to choose to lie down and to give birth to another person is to make the choice to risk one's own life. So if that being true, your mother is the only person that in most cases, who's actually risked her life to give you yours. It's powerful when you think about it. It's powerful. I say to my kids all the time, if I had to be responsible to give birth to you, y'all wouldn't be here. There's no way in the world I would do that. It is a selfless and it is an unbelievable, heroic choice for a woman to make the decision to give birth to another person that another person might live. Allow them to use her body and incubate for 9 months, however long it is, and then to give birth to them through such agony and torture. Number 2, mothers build godly character. When a mother is really plugged in to the things of God, of course, number 2 doesn't apply to every mother, but in most cases it does. She may not necessarily be the most religious all the time. She may not necessarily be in church, but in most cases, all things being equal, a mother is promoting the concepts that would make for godly character in their children, even if they're not using biblical rhetoric, or if they're not using church vernacular. They're teaching their children to be honest, to respect and to love others, and to recognize a higher power, or the higher power, Jesus Christ. I say the higher power because all that, of course, I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. But there are others that are watching that, they just use general terminology like God, but all things being equal, they're generally trying to steer the child's character in a direction that amounts to godliness. Proverbs 6:20-22 says, "My son, keep thy father's commandment and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleeps, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. The words, the encouragements of a mother will speak to the child continually. Even when the child is gone from the mother or the mother departs this life, the words of a mother will always come back. Number 3, the mother is the comforter. Fathers are not generally very good at comforting, but the mothers are generally the comforters of the family, the comforters of the child. There's something about the voice of a mother that just brings a calm over a person's life. My father, I had the greatest relationship in the world with my father, and I loved my father dearly, and he loved me back. I had the rare occasion as a man to really have a strong love for his father. But my father was never the comforter. You know, as I was saying to the church earlier, he was more like the discomforter. You know, Dad would be like, get over it, you know, shake it off. You know, it was Mom that would say, you know, let's talk about it. And it was Mom that brought about comfort during those seasons of difficulty or testing. Isaiah 66:13 says, as one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you. Mothers are the comforters. Mothers believe in us when we don't believe in ourselves. They have a way of talking to us and just bringing us into a place of, you know, tranquility and rest. Number 4, mothers are our lifelong intercessors. In other words, they are the ones that are praying for us, their children, for lifetime. You know, they are calling on God and asking God to bless us with what we need to be blessed with, and to, you know, so manipulate our lives that it works in our favor. They are the chief intercessors of our lives. And in Genesis 3:15, there's an interesting revelation there. It says, and this is after the fall of Adam and Eve, and God is you know, handing out punishment for their transgression of disobeying him. And he's also handing out a punishment to Satan, the snake. And he says, and I will put enmity, he's talking to Satan, between thee and the woman. And enmity is simply a synonym for warfare. I will put warfare between you and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. God says, I'm going to create a special warfare in the woman against you, Satan. So when we are engaged in those seasons in our lives, when it looks like everything the devil sends at us is just, you know, coming at us, but it's not overtaking us. In many instances, it's the prayers of our mothers that are set against Satan himself that are holding us up. You know, our mothers are our chief intercessors. They do spiritual warfare in dimensions that other people can't even begin to fathom. Mothers go all the way with you. If you don't believe me, just look at the Bible and look at Jesus Christ. He had thousands of people that followed him for the miracles, for whatever else he did, his teachings or whatever else he did. He had 12 guys that he took, and he took them on full time, and he fed them, and he kept them day and night for 3.5 years. But when he got into his worst testing, it was but one of those men that stayed with him, and that was John. And the person that was next to John was Jesus's mother. Because mothers go all the way with us in terms of spiritual warfare. There are some battles that you're going to face in life where everybody will leave you, and it will be your mother that will be standing next to you and praying for you. And then finally, number 5, mothers pass down spiritual gifts, especially when mothers are spiritually connected and have a right relationship with God themselves. Mothers have what I call a quiet impartation. They're not loud, not boisterous, not overly active, but they have a unique way of just passing down spiritual gifts or impartation to the children and even to the grandchildren. Much of what I am today is the consequence of my having had a spiritual mother and spiritual grandmothers who passed that spirituality down to me. In 2 Timothy 1:5, it says, Paul is talking to the young pastor, his son Timothy, and he says, when I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois, in thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that in thee also what was in your grandmother and in your mother is now in you. So we have a lot of reasons to really be thankful for our mothers, because they are one of our greatest blessings. You know, your mother is one of your greatest blessings. And for those of you whose mothers have transcended, that's the terminology I use for those who are deceased. I don't really like to use died. They've transcended, you know, they've left this existence for a higher dimension. You know, just know that your memory of them and your living itself, your life itself, should I say, is them yet in the earth, impacting the earth. And if you're like I am, and if you believe in Jesus Christ, and call me old-fashioned, but I believe that there's a heaven. I do believe that with all of my heart. One of these days, you'll see her again. And so my prayer for you is that the Spirit of God will just comfort you with these words. But for those of us who have mothers who are present, let's do everything we can to honor them, to respect them, and to be a blessing to them, because they are certainly a blessing to us. Hey, if this is your kind of thing, I'd like for you to like this video. I'd like for you to subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed, if you do subscribe, I'd like for you to hit the little bell so you know when I'm on. And I'd like for you to share this if at all possible. Share this if at all possible. I'm R.C. Blakes, and I want you to know that you're on top and going higher. And happy Mother's Day to all of you. God bless you.
Father-daughter talk book.
A lot of you whose ignorance has been shattered.